Yeah, so feels great to be on the other side of the fence where I'm talking and principals, vice chancellors, directors are listening to me. Uh, while before I go through the presentation, I'll just introduce myself a little bit more. So I'm a mechanical engineer by education, and a lot of what I do in my work comes from the issues that I faced as a mechanical engineering student. And and when I got hands on the technology that we work with, I actually scratched my own itch first, and I created something for core mechanical engineering, and that's probably one of the star products that we have, and that's something that I would showcase as well. Right? Yeah. So about iXRLabs, iXRLabs is one of the largest virtual reality content creators across the world. I mean, our content library is one of the largest content libraries available with any VR organization across the globe. And it's not just us claiming, not just us claiming those, but there has been an AI-enabled research conducted by another organization, which also put us up at one of the top 5 startups globally. Our team now, 50 members plus iXRLabs specifically started 2 years ago, now 3 almost, in September 2020. Our team is now almost 50 plus members at the moment, and all from stellar organizations and institutions across the country. So yeah, this was the research that I was talking about. In 2022, out of 858 VR-based startups, iXRLabs got picked up as one of the top startups across the globe. And in today's day and time, we are also partnering with Meta, which is the parent company of Facebook, as one of the XR startup partners in the country. Right, so I said a lot of virtual reality once I stepped on the stage. The question comes is when we go, they ask Nihar, what is virtual reality? And then I also get words thrown in is what is AR and MR? We hear all of this together. So what is this technology? So that's probably a fundamental doubt that I'll try to clear today, right? So let's take a case. If you want to learn about space travel, you have multiple ways you can learn about it. You can look at videos, you can look at books, and then here comes along a technology which everyone is investing in. Apple recently launched their Vision Pro headset, and everyone is going crazy. Oh, what is this about? So fundamentally, all of this gets classified in extended reality. All of this is spatial technology. Now, our phones have probably reached their limits. So I mean, it's just a 2D screen now. How deeper can the technology go? That's where what everyone is working on is 3D screens. It's your whole world is now a screen. And that's where these spatial technologies come into play. And while I believe a lot of people are hearing it nowadays, once all of these names are talking about it, it has been around for the last many years. I myself have worked on it for the last 6 years, and I have seen the technology grow in leaps and bounds. AR, for example, will allow you to interact with 3D objects through another 2D screen. So it will augment 3D objects in this environment. So if, let's say I want to teach about space travel today, you would see through a 2D screen a space travel machine here or a space station here. Virtual reality, on the other hand, transports you to a whole different environment, and all of that is done through a headset like this. So this is a VR headset through which you can immerse yourself into a whole different environment. And then comes the confluence of both, which is mixed reality, where your existing environment and the virtual environment can interact together. So you can have, so for example, in VR, the use case would be you would be inside the International Space Station, and you would look how things look inside the International Space Station. In MR, you would have remnants of this environment. It could be the sofa that you're sitting on, the chair that you're sitting on, or the table around you. You would have the remnants of this environment interacting with virtual objects in those environments. So if I take a very technical use case and an industrial use case, through MR, I can interact with industrial machines as they work. As against in VR, I probably have virtual machines with me. Those won't be the same machines. And AR just superimposes on the physical machine, but I won't be able to work with that actual machine. So clearing this one fundamental doubt was one of the main use that I wanted to make of this forum, because that's a common question and a confusion that remains. And how is this all different from, let's say, what you hear about virtual labs or V-labs that is popularized uh, through the uh, through the government initiatives as well? Is all of this is 3D immersive and interactive. V-labs or the 2D platforms, they are a 2D platform where it is sort of a one-way interaction, if you call it. Here you have the opportunity to actually interact with things in a virtual environment and be in a different environment. The main differentiator is the scale at which you look at objects. I'll come to an example for that as well. So why am I talking about this? Uh, Before iXRLabs, I had the chance to work with a lot of industrial deployments for this technology. So I worked with the likes of DRDO, Hindalco, Adani, Ultratech, and all of this, at all of these setups, we created L&D, learning and development modules delivered through VR. For example, Hindalco has a plant at Renukut in Uttar Pradesh. It's an aluminum ore refinery. None of us have seen one. Now, if I have to tomorrow go and work in one of those, as a student, I don't know anything about it. People who were joining Hindalco or the aluminum ore refinery had never seen one. How do you take these people and get them to work in that environment when they haven't seen one? So what Hindalco does is they go out and set up a virtual reality lab where they have where we created a whole aluminum ore refinery in virtual reality. So you know how it looks to feel, how it feels to stand inside and look up and see, oh, there's a crane on top of me which is lifting an anode, which is actually doing those processes, how those processes are laid out, what is the kind of optimization in those layouts that they have done, what are the safety measures in place. All of this can't be experienced or can't be felt through images or videos. As much as you try, the feeling of standing in that plant and seeing how massive it is something that creates that difference. And that's what virtual reality enables you to do. And while working with them, all of these setups, what we realized is the ones who are actually making the greatest benefit out of it were the people who were joining these setups afresh. It was not maybe, it was not really the ones who were, let's say, there in the setup because they had seen it, but the ones who came anew to those setups, they were the ones who saw that, oh, this is where I am able to actually experience, feel, learn, and they were the one who made the greatest benefit. And these were primarily mechanical, electrical, civil engineering students, where we today see a major challenge with a lot of educational institutes. Getting admissions in those branches, or be it getting placements, or even generating interest among the students becomes a challenge. And that's where there are a huge number of reports. I work very closely with the industry. So for our offices here in Gurgaon on Sona Road, there is a electric vehicles company a couple of floors below us. They have a number of engineers all from Japan who come here, develop and design their electric vehicle technology. They are able to find Indian interpreters, translators, but they are not able to find Indian engineers who can design electric vehicles for them. And this is a growing industry. This is the top publications talking about it. All of your manufacturing setups like Boeing, Apple, everyone making a mad rush to India. But where is the local talent to support it? That's a major question mark for them. And it's not that there is a lack of quantity. Probably there is a lack of quality in those core engineering domains that have probably got sidelined as in the rush towards computer science and other streams. And that's where our offering and the work we do specifically targets on catering to these niche offerings. And it's a challenge to teach a mechanical engineering student. I understand that as a mechanical engineering student. I'll just move through this. I'll go to a video. Right, so thermodynamics is an important subject for a mechanical engineer. As a mechanical engineer, I learned thermodynamics extremely theoretically. I just saw graphs. I just saw. So it runs on this Brayton cycle. I just saw graphs and numbers, and I could not make sense on how is this actually getting implemented in a real life jet engine, or how is the thermodynamics principle that runs an IC engine actually getting applied there. I mean, if I were to talk about the EV case, I learned about battery technology, but I didn't really learn how it is going to get deployed in these industrial applications. And colleges can't make available a jet engine for everyone to work with. I mean, you can't make available for everyone industrial plant within their college to work with. Or in fact, you can't even provide access to one outside. So that's where we can harness the power of virtual reality to actually provide those meaningful experiences, hands-on experiences, an opportunity to experiment, to actually drive those benefits, and the industry is already doing it. It's now the time for the institutions where the source of all of these students that are actually going to the industry and learning, they can actually be trained in-house and then be taken out to the industry. So yeah, that was about how virtual reality can actually impact education. And in the past couple of years that we have been working in the higher education space, we have partnered with some of the top organizations, institutions across the country. And I mean, no offense meant, but let's say these are some of the top institutions. There are a lot of other institutions in the country as well. What is the only difference among these? And I did not get a chance to study in an IIT, but I happened to tour a lot of IIT through my work in this field. And I think I have been to at least 7 IITs across the country. The only difference is the exposure that they provide. An institution like IIT Kharagpur can afford to set up a 50 crore facility to teach advanced manufacturing. Every institute can't. But there are ways and there are technologies that can allow you to actually have those facilities in-house or at least provide that exposure. And that's where we want to help the institutes be. So this is the work that we have been done. We have implemented successfully across Rajasthan, where we are primarily operating before we moved to Gurgaon, where we have multiple labs running across the state. In fact, one of the this is a video, which is not playing, but yeah. This is a video of a lab that has been set up, and this is one of the first labs that we went out and set up. It's a college in Bikaner, and it's a pretty much a rural, semi-rural, semi-urban setting. The college is over almost 100 years old. All of the infrastructure is close to 100 years old. Here we set up this lab, which is probably the most stellar art infrastructure that they have. And in just over 2 years, we have trained over 3,000 students using virtual reality on their domains of expertise, which is zoology, botany, chemistry, etc. Since it's such a star facility, you have over 150 prominent visitors who have visited, be it local celebrities, the chief ministers, IAS officers, everyone is there. And they have taken an initiative to actually train teachers on it. So over some 300 plus teachers have been trained to some 15 teacher development programs or faculty development programs just in the last couple of years. So, and there are research papers being published as well, just as an output of this one lab. Yeah, I think the video is playing. So this is the video of the lab. So while this is a screen just showing what is happening in VR, but you'll see my colleague actually performing the experiment. So students come into this lab before the session, before let's say their practical session, and then they perform in VR these experiments. And then once they go and perform the actual experiments, they actually perform much better than when you actually let them go without any exposure to it. So yeah, a lot more things that we are doing. We are actually partnering with institutes to actually train teachers as well, so that the teachers who are going to use it know what are the pedagogies involved, how is the technology effective, what are the things that can be done. And it's an ecosystem that we are trying to build. It's not just, let's say, a product that we are trying to sell. Some numbers talk about it. You will find a lot of research. I won't go through those numbers because these are research reports talking about these numbers. But if you're still not convinced, I'll leave you with some 6 reasons why your institution should install a VR lab. I have spoken a lot of philosophy. I'll just talk a bit of business. One, as per our research, 11% of your NAAC NBA ratings can be directly impacted by having a facility like this. Colleges that are already NAAC A+ and above find it a challenge on what improvements can you make. Here we are. You can attract admission to core branches because there's something new that you're doing for them. They are not left at the mercy of the industry or the age-old curriculum that we have. there are effective enhanced learning outcomes. That is something that I have spoken about. And the news reports that I spoke about non-IT engineers being in demand. Infrastructure push, EV, power systems and power grids growing so much. We need mechanical, electrical, civil engineers to build. Computer science won't cut it for us. Core skills are missing in the market because we are not able to show experience and exposure. Core skills are missing in the market. And finally, since the industry is doing it, and if you do it for the industry at your own institution, you would obviously attract better employers. So I think that's my time. I leave you with that. Thank you.